We're all set.
Thank you very much. I'd like to bring the meeting of the Jamestown Board of Canvassers Wednesday, February 25th. To order, the time is 2:39. We'd like to do our roll call first, if you could call out your name and state your position. Jennifer?
Jennifer Thran,
Rhode Island alternate.
alternate
Republican.
Murphy, regular member. Oh,
Ken Newman, regular member, Democrat.
Daphne Meredith, voting member, Democrat.
Thanks very much. We'll move right to the minutes. If we have people have a chance to look at the approval of review, discussion, and or action or vote for the Board of Canvassers meeting of January 20th, 2026 and January 21st, 2026. You may recall these are the ones where we had them back to back prior to the town council meeting. If you could look at those for a minute. Present here also at our meeting is the canvassing clerk for the town of Jamestown, Keith Ford. Okay, have we, has everybody had a chance to review these? Ed? Do I hear any discussion about the minutes? Otherwise, I will ask for a motion.
The only discussion is I would abstain from voting on the second one since I wasn't here.
Right. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to accept the minutes of January 20th and January 21st as presented. I second.
Thank you.
It's a separate motion for each one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Separate motion, okay.
Yeah, let's try the first January 20th first.
Okay, I move to accept the minutes of Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. For the second motion, for the Board of Canvassers meeting January 21st, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to accept the minutes of Wednesday, January 21st, 2026, as presented. I second the motion.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
And thank you for.
Thank you, yes.
Pointing out that which were all difficulty with.
You're always
You
good.
vote for something that we weren't here for. I'm sorry. I was trying to be so efficient, but I wasn't thinking.
We did this last time. We're gonna move to the Board of Canvassers clerk report, if he's available. There's some interesting stuff here, especially when we get to number 2. You wanna trot us through this? Your report?
Sure, my report, first thing on the list was NCOA.
Yep.
Which we started January 5th. We had 29 voters on the list. Oh, sorry, we started that January 7th. We had 14 total voters on the list. I put them all on the list of the Secretary of State, categorizing them whether it was an in-state, out-of-state, or in-town move. And the Secretary of State sent out the notices. I have not gotten any back yet. The jury commissioner, that's regarding, we get a list from the jury commission every few months for mailings that go back to them undeliverable. And by law, we make our voters inactive because of that. Because jury commission, when they send something out, they use the voter lists and the DMV records. So we had 23 voters on that list. 5 were already canceled or had already submitted a change of address. 4 were inactive voters already. 1 was not registered to vote, and a total of 13 were moved to inactive status. For the early voting, polling location inspections, BOE just procedurally came in, checked out this room for early voting. They are going to make a couple changes, moving things. Primarily, the express vote will be over on this side, which will be close. The first closest thing to the express vote. That's how they want it set up, so that people using that have the DS200 right next to it. And then there'll be a change to the tables. All of the poll pads now will be plugged in 24/7.
Yeah.
So I'll just have to run an extension cord to the table, which is easy enough. And the only other thing that they needed to change was a van accessible sign put on the handicap sign in front of the building. It was the only thing that they needed updated.
What was that again?
They did need the handicap sign in front of the building, does not have the words van accessible on it. So you have to put a small sign underneath it that says.
You mean that one right there?
That's-
Oh. I didn't notice that. Okay.
That's a very easy fix, DPWs
Yeah.
are advised, and when they have time, not dealing with the snow, they will make the sign for us.
Okay then.
Certification training. Course 9 was supposed to be yesterday, it was moved. They don't have a date yet.
They don't have a date yet?
What was that?
They do not have a date.
They do not have a date, as of this morning, they didn't have a date on when they were gonna be doing it, but they will have that second course 9 class coming up.
And you'll inform us?
Yes,
Okay, because I wasn't gonna be able to do.
Didn't you go to the first one?
I did the first one, but I want to do it again.
Is the training the same for both?
every month they're doing 2 trainings and they're both the same.
Yeah.
I went to the first one, which was, I think, the 18th,
Yeah.
and that one was good. It was all about the post-election process, about like,
Yeah.
the paperwork that has to be returned, when,
Yeah.
and how. Course 10 will be on March 10th from 1:30 to 3:30,
Whoops.
on March 25th from 9:30 to 11:30.
And what's the topic of course 10?
That one is covering provisionals, limited ballots, and affirmations.
Okay.
And then the legislative priorities, we'll cover that under new business, because I'll be asking for support. I think 8 different bills
Yeah.
that'll all affect us. They're all good bills that most of them, the BOE and the Secretary of State have endorsed. And then live stream, we have switched over to the YouTube-based platform, and we're actually running that right now. So you probably now want all the clerks have been trained in it, so we'll be using YouTube from now on, and then we'll have the old system as a backup.
So, getting back to the trainings, has there been any discussion relative to putting it on a platform like Teams? In order to do it remotely?
No, they want them all in person, so that they can account for who's there, and that you're there the whole time. So as of this year, they're just doing it all in person.
You can, obviously, you can do that online. I mean, I work for the Navy, and we have systems that you can tell who's on, obviously, you check in and you can monitor how long that person is engaged.
Yeah.
So it is I guess, attendance, record by default.
I know as of this year and maybe next year, they're keeping it as all in person. Which is, it's a lot.
So it's a pain in the neck. Especially if somebody's working.
Yep,
Yeah.
and that's all I have for my report.
I think that the one thing I think is gonna be important is the hard plugging of the paths. You know, this new system, not using the, you know, actually plugging them in.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have an issue, especially here on the other 2 polling locations I looked at. The way we'll set it up
Yeah,
will be a slightly different, but we'll be able to fit everybody.
but I mean, to me, that's a big plus point that it's gonna be that way. I think it's gonna be more secure.
And then at the polling location,
Yeah.
the clerk's table will be right next to the supervisors. There won't be any separation.
That's another point, which I think is gonna be an improvement.
So, opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, now we will hear from Daphne on the canvassing collaborative report, and that's, I'm really excited for
So,
that.
so we were supposed to have an all-day workshop on Monday.
Yeah.
And I was of, as many canvassing representatives who could attend, who was supposed to be at the BOE. So needless to say, we did not have the canvassing collaborative workshop on Monday. It's been postponed to the 30th of March. So I have nothing to report about that. What I do have to report on is what you've already heard, because much of what we discuss is things we hear from the Secretary of State once a month and from the Board of Elections once a month. And it's usually about the trainings, or at this point in the election cycle, it's about the trainings and about pending legislation. And we are completely up to date on that, thanks to Keith. As we get closer to the actual conduct of the midterms and other elections, I will have more to report out on, but right now, that's all I have, because we did not have our working group, strategic planning session on Monday, so sorry about that.
I'm glad that this is getting sort of concretized in terms of like meeting in an official place in person with a tight connection to the Board of Elections and to, you know, Secretary of State's office. And it feels as if this is really moving into really getting batten down as an entity.
I agree, and I think the biggest challenge facing the collaborative from, that this is my opinion, but I think one of the bigger challenges facing us is how to get more cities and towns on board working with and through the collaborative, because the exchange of information is invaluable, and, you know, knowing what's going on, whether it's procedurally or otherwise in our fellow towns and cities is very helpful. So I hope that we can gather some more momentum once we formalize our mission statement and,
Yeah,
you know, have this strategic planning session.
but how many participating communities do you have at this point?
So my best understanding is that we have 39 cities and towns in Rhode Island. I hope that's the right number. And participants who show up regularly, there are approximately 20 to 22 of them.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to have everybody,
Everybody.
or as close to everybody as possible.
But I just think about when we started with that, we
Yeah.
had 6.
I know, it's great, and Sharon Connors is amazing. So
And she's, you know, she's
Really
done
proud
such a
of her.
fantastic job, but, you know, since you started being our member to that, it's tripled.
yeah, it's grown a lot, and I think the strategic planning session is warranted at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because, you know, Jennifer, one of the things that was interesting at the beginning is when Roberta, our town clerk, volunteered to do the poll to find out what was she had 3 questions she asked every day. And all of the cities and towns, in terms of their canvassing authorities. And one of the things we were trying to figure out in the very beginning was how different are the canvassing authorities in terms of how they function, and it turned out they were wildly different, just wildly different. I think once this whole thing is really concretized, it's gonna do a huge service in terms of dragging everybody up to the same standards. Because as you saw in these training sessions, it's going very fast, you know, it's like you really have to, it's a lot of work to, you know, keep up with all this stuff, and so I'm glad I'm you know, I'm very glad to see that. So we'll look forward to your actual final meeting and hope for no more snow
yes.
this year.
I have a question relative to the difference between different communities, how Board of Canvassers conduct their operations. Isn't that built into like town charters, things like that?
It's basically based on state law.
Yeah, it's state law.
It's supposed to follow state law, but we're, you know, we are mentioned in the town charter.
Yeah, our town charter mimics exactly what the state law says.
Right, yeah, it says it's regurgitation.
Yeah,
And some of them don't have any town or city enabling at all, they just follow the state law.
How do they get appointed? There must be some mechanism because the town appoints the Board of Canvassers.
same way we are, which is by state law, which is like Jamestown, we have the town council, so names are submitted to each party to the town council.
Yeah.
If it's a mayor, they're submitted from the parties to the mayor to make that.
Okay, let's move to unfinished business. A, review, discussion, and or action at our vote financial town meeting creation of a reference guide and an educational brochure. I'm gonna defer here to you two, and Daphne. Because, you know, I think we've made a lot of progress in terms of identifying how we want to diffuse the information, not just the paper, potentially other things. But I have had a couple of conversations with the owner of the Jamestown Press, and he's very, very much interested in having them cover this really extensively.
So I guess my question is, have we left off with this? Because I think at one point we didn't want to proceed without being directed by the town council to create this brochure. I think we need to be careful not to overstep our statutory authority.
Yeah.
And so,
We talked about it before, about kind of buttoning up the draft that you have and then
Right.
approaching the town council with
Okay. okay,
the updated draft.
so then it's on me and I apologize. I need to solicit some feedback from all of you. So please read the draft and if you don't have it, I'll send it out to you again. And I think, would be good, I wish that I could ask for public comment too, because if the packet is a matter of public record, and so I would be happily receive public comment back from people to enhance it, improve it, critique it. Let me know if they think it's a useful document.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this should be open for anyone to comment on.
Or one, be comment on after put it together and present it to the town council.
Sure, we can proceed that way, but right now it's in draft form, so I would like to, spiff it up a little bit and make sure that we're all, especially this committee is all on the subject.
That's one of the experts.
Oh, yes. I don't know that I would call myself as an expert. Good at doing research, maybe.
The final form. I don't think we have to spread it through the public, truth. I mean, that's just gonna happen. I mean,
I just wanna make sure that people know it's there and can be commented on. That, I think it's best to get as much feedback as you can before the final, so that you don't have to make a lot of revisions in the end. But I'll work on getting a next draft for our next meeting. How's that?
And then if we wanted to, we could always invite Dennis.
Yeah.
John Murphy.
John Murphy, well, I actually was gonna send a draft to each of them for comment, since they've served as moderator.
Yeah.
That was
If
what,
anybody does make changes to the agenda as they look, not the agenda, the guy as they do it, just send them to me and I can distribute them to Daphne for updates. So if there's no OMA violation.
oh, thank you, Keith.
Okay, and Keith, do you wanna give us a update on the request of town council? Where we stand on the request of town council, for approval to move forward?
We have not reached out.
So can I ask a question? I'm sorry. So the educational brochure is going to be about how the current town meeting is run? Yes, until such time as it is modified, if and when. Okay, so in other words, like statutory process, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's all we can educate on, exactly.
As Hugh says, but this is short lived.
It's still, yeah, it
It may change.
has to be done though, I think.
But we've formally requested the town council. Have we formally requested the town council to move forward?
We have not.
Okay,
So what I would do is I'd finish the draft and the final.
and then we approached,
Yes.
we submitted to them at a meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, B, subset B, review, discussion, interaction about financial town meeting, possible meeting formats. I think that one of the things I noticed with the Fort Getty process is that there was a lot of, I think that went pretty smoothly in some ways as a process. But when people started answering the questionnaire, there were some difficulties in answering the questionnaire such that your answer corresponded to what you considered to be the strongest priority or not, or what you were opposed to the most. And so I was thinking that we need to be thinking about that as we construct something, because I think we have, from what I can feel, I think we have a chunk of people who are very committed to keep it exactly as it is, the financial town meeting, and a chunk of people who are very committed to completely changing it to all big referendum. And so there's maybe X%, like a strong 20% of people. And I'm guessing that percentage, but I just from talking with people who really want to keep it exactly the way it was, always has been. And then another, maybe more than 20, who just want to go to all day referendum.
But, okay, excuse me, Ken. In our role as the Board of Canvassers, I think we need to be careful. We raised the issue of the conduct of the financial town meeting because we have served in that meeting at the request of the town council. And so we raised some issues and points about the conduct. And now I think we need to back way off. It's in the hands of the town council, and there really is nothing we are legally entitled to say about that. It's really in the hands of the town council. There's nothing procedurally that we can do about,
We can make recommendations.
and we have.
Yeah, but I mean, we have to concretize the recommendations in such a way that the town council can pose questions, say they want to do a questionnaire.
But that's up to them, is what I'm trying to say.
But what we want to do is provide them with the tools such that they don't get into some of the problems by their own admission that came up with the Fort Getty one. In their talking about the Fort Getty thing, they talked about the ambiguities, and they were responding to voters in town who said, I had a strong feeling about this, but I couldn't answer it in the questionnaire in a way that reflected my strong feeling because there were conflicting things when you went down the telephone tree of the questions. So I'm talking about the actual procedure.
Okay, and this is something that council is on record as saying about the Fort Getty survey,
They
the
talked,
town council. Okay, well, again, though, I think the ball is in their court and they have to decide how to proceed from here on out.
yeah, and I think we want to
Because-
be careful too.
I think we need to be careful not to exceed our statutory limitation and authority of what our role in the whole voting process is.
Just,
So it sounds like there's two separate issues we need to bring to the board.
yeah,
Am I wrong?
that's right.
The one about the new format that we're asking to provide, the new educational brochure.
Yeah,
Secondly, the FTM referendum.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to make a comment, feedback I got from our presentation was very positive, and the point was made that, number one, it is not, if you read the way we presented it, it says on meeting format, in-person town meeting versus all day. It's really, just a portion of the FTM, it's the voting section. That's
Breaking it apart.
breaking it into,
Yeah.
breaking it into two. And the point that we try to make is the fact that there are a lot of people who would like to vote on the budget that are precluded from voting, either because of their physical problems or because the meeting venue is not large enough to hold, you know, a significant number, greater than 14% of the total voting population of Jamestown. So all we're saying is that we we agree with the format of the FTM except for the voting section, where we'd like to open it up to all residents. Seems to me that, is the point we want to hammer home. And I intend to follow it up, and I will send another letter to, council, just reiterating the fact that we don't want to change the FTM, we just want to modify the voting section, to make it, universal.
I understand your point completely. I think one distinction we need to hold in our heads is what we do as the board of canvassers and what we do as individual citizens with the right to free speech. We just have to walk that very fine line, because we don't want to exceed the role we are tasked with by state law.
Yeah, I also think, I agree with Daphne on that, because one of the things I sensed in the town council when they were talking about it is on the part of some of the councilors, a little bit of concern about whether we were moving in the direction of exceeding our burden.
Mhm.
I could feel that.
And I think it's a valid concern, and we just need to be careful, but
Yeah,
we should all feel free to speak our minds as private citizens.
And we did make the recommendation as opposed to, ban or,
Right.
yeah,
act as,
yeah.
authority. And that authority changed.
And did they not ask us to review that?
We asked,
For the FTM?
them to empower us to research it and then provide them,
Or
and to provide them with
Options.
options.
But they did not take us up on our offer. So they put the brakes on that, sure.
But that doesn't mean it isn't gonna happen. It probably is gonna happen. It's just, they were, naturally trying to figure out. But one of the things I listened and read, I talked to a number of the people who were on the commission through the Fort Getty thing. And they talked to a lot of people in that process. And they were in the paper very vocal about the fact that there had been complications in terms of the questionnaire. And so that's a pitfall that I think we need to be thinking about,
Are we talking about a questionnaire
possibly down the line.
generated by whom?
It would be probably generated by the town council.
Okay, so that's really beyond our purview. at this
Not in my view.
Okay,
I think we should be talking about that
as this body,
as this body.
Hmm.
Because I think we should be talking about what we would recommend and what was learned by the process of these charrettes. And we shouldn't use the word charrettes because apparently that's not a good word. But
but I don't think we should voluntarily be making those types of comments unless we are.
and so that once we're given the go ahead, that's when I think we start thinking about, well, what was learned in that process with the Fort Getty thing. And when they talked about problems with questionnaires and really eliciting both opinions and trying to assess what percentage of people feel strongly about this one aspect or another aspect. Putting together a questionnaire like that is an art, not a science, and they worked very hard at it. And they had a very, very good committee of people who this was not their first time at the dance. These were people like Marissa Quinn and a variety of other people who had lots of experience doing this. And I think they may or may not be pretty happy with how it worked. What do you think, Keith?
I'm not sure I didn't get any feedback on that. I know they did work with somebody up at the Rhode Island League
Yeah.
of Cities and Towns to help.
Right, yeah.
draft that.
But it's a medium complicated process, and I think if there's things to be gleaned where we don't make mistakes or, avoid mistakes that are confusing to the electorate, our recommendations can be really useful to the town council. But I have learned a great deal from my partner Daphne here. Because Daphne is the person who's very, very seriously always saying, okay, there's guardrails here, let's not get outside of the
It's
guardrails.
not gonna have
And let's not volunteer to do stuff that's going to take us into some
treacherous territory.
treacherous area. So I'm all in favor of that. Okay, is there any further discussion on that? Otherwise, we'll move on to new business. Anybody, okay. Keith, do you wanna walk us through 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6? You have a fair amount of information about these, right?
Yes, I put each one of the.
I've got each one here in the packet, right?
Put each one into the packet. The first one, I'll be asking for support for is Senate Bill 2130,
Yeah.
which is write-ins. They want to change the bill to every single one of the write-ins would be posted on the BOE website after with the official results, so anybody can look them up online, see everything. The second part of that was to change it.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Well, how does the process work now? I'm sorry for my ignorance.
Now they send us a copy of all the write-ins. We get the tapes here and they send us a copy, and then if somebody wants them, we can send them.
Uh,
But this one,
so this would be publicly available.
it'll be publicly available on the,
Anyone could see it.
with the official results from the
Yep.
BOE on
Okay,
their website.
okay.
And then the second part that would change would, in the writing, would change it to where Board of Canvassers would only have to adjudicate each write-in if there was a possibility it could change the results.
The outcome,
Okay,
what's the measure of possibility? Is there a number?
Don't know exactly, I know if it could affect the outcome, the Board of Canvassers would have to sit down and manually adjudicate.
Yeah, cause usually when they say could, what they mean is they give a number, they say 100, or they say,
They did not say, and then if there is a default, would be a.
yeah, okay,
But if there was nothing, like a regular election where we had nothing,
yeah,
we wouldn't have to manually sit down and count everything unless we were asked to.
okay, I talked to one of the senators who introduced us to coin. And I think this streamlines things a bit, or at least for Keith.
For all of us, because you guys sit
We,
down.
I mean, they never have to go through that, you know. But, okay,
And the next one is Senate 2131. Which changes did we wanna go through the one, or do you wanna vote as we go?
I thought, well, I'm gonna defer, if I say something, I'm just gonna get corrected by Keith, so Keith, how do you want to do this? Do you want to do it one by one or all together?
I would suggest one by one,
Okay.
I mean, if somebody has a problem with one,
Yeah,
Let's just discuss each one and then.
all right, I'll entertain a motion, on 2130 that we just talked about, do I have a motion
Motion to
to
support.
support?
So moved.
Second,
second,
any further discussion?
can I ask that we modify that to where I could write a letter on behalf of the board and submit it?
Yes, sorry. Thank you, thank you, Keith, and all of the following ones would be the same. All in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes unanimously. Okay, on to the next one.
Okay, the next one is Senate Bill 2131, which adds a 50-foot limit for electioneering, early voting locations.
Did we have it already?
We do not for early
No,
voting.
not for early voting.
only during the elections themselves.
So this bill would change it to where early voting, you could have that 50-foot electioneering limit. So they couldn't be
Yeah,
anywhere closer than 50 feet. You'd have to mark it in the front and the back. if we do our regular election,
That would be outside the building.
outside of the.
outside, so. But early voting is in some peculiar places, some places,
Yes,
and so. I'm really in favor of this, because I've talked at some of these training sessions, I've talked to people where they have on. Where early voting is in some weird place, and they've had problems.
and where it is the law for precincts to have that, all this does is add early voting to that law.
Yeah, make a comment, I remember we had a problem, I gave people.
Yeah.
Close to the door.
Yeah.
We moved back to the parking lot, that would be fine.
Yep, if this law was passed, then yeah.
Yeah.
But right now, there's nothing stopping people from
Yeah.
standing in the front
You
entrance.
said,
Yeah.
right, all of it.
50 feet from this door is right at the beginning. Because we used to, we tape it. And that's where it is. Okay. Any further discussion on that? Okay, as we did with the previous, this is to empower Keith to write a letter of our support. Do I hear a motion?
So
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We are now considering Bill 2132.
132 is the voter registration deadline amendment, which this would. The Senate there's also a companion bill in the House. And this would eliminate the wording for 30 days in the Rhode Island Constitution. What it will allow is, when we get rid of that, it'll be on the ballot in November for the voters to choose. And what it would do is take away the 30-day registration requirement now and allow the General Assembly to change it to, say, 15 days, or 10 days.
Yeah.
Right now, Rhode Island's the longest in the country with 30 days. With the CBRS system and everything we have, they want to be able to bring that down to allow voters, because a lot of our provisionals are people that have registered to vote, but they were never processed, they registered 29 days. So this would allow the General Assembly to discuss and possibly change that 30-day deadline.
So is the, say the national average, like 14 days or 15 days, half of that?
Don't know what the national average is. I know there's a lot that are like 2 weeks, 14 days.
Yeah, okay, it sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting that the bill itself doesn't change the time frame.
The bill itself can't because it's in the Constitution. The Constitution has to change first.
First,
So
okay,
this bill is allowing them to change the Constitution.
Constitution,
So that vote, if it passes, that vote will be on the ballot in November.
got it.
We have to change that if it passes. And then they'll go back next session and change it in general law.
Okay, now I get.
Are there other things that are gonna be on the ballot about changing the Constitution that are real adjacent to this?
That are adjacent to this? No, just this one. I don't know what else, if there are any other bills.
Okay. So this is initiated by the Secretary of State's office, basically, right?
What was that?
This particular, 2132, this was at the initiation of the Secretary of State's office.
My computer's not turning on right now.
Okay, well,
Which one that was?
I think it is. because
Yeah, I think so, doesn't it say right?
It says that, but these senators are ones I know who worked with Rob. Okay, so I got it, all right. Good question about the time for the 2-week thing. Because I think that is the national norm. Okay, do we have any further discussion about this one? Okay, I will,
Well, but excuse me, I just want to point out that there's also a provision about the nomination of candidates in this bill, right? It's not just about voter registration.
no,
What's this? no person shall be eligible to file a declaration of candidacy who has not been a qualified elector in Rhode Island for at least 30 days.
Yeah,
So
But
that's an addition, I think because prior to the
Right.
change, it would be a 30-day requirement.
to be, oh,
There's still a 30-day requirement for candidacy, so I think they're changing that to follow so that people can register to vote, but you can't register to be a candidate.
To run,
yeah,
okay,
so it's,
I'm just clarifying so that we know what we're
well,
endorsing.
technically, you're right, it's a separate issue, but it's a corollary thing. Or,
Right, but there are two components, two big components on this bill. One is people entitled to vote and the other is,
people entitled to run,
right, nomination of candidates.
what they want is harmony of the two,
Right, that makes sense.
okay,
Okay, just pointing it out, making sure everybody knows what they're endorsing.
good eye. Okay. Are good. Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Any further comments, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Senate Bill 2197. This is the one, this is actually really important to the Secretary of State. Keith, you want to talk about this timing issue in terms of Labor Day?
Yes, so this bill would change the September primary. Because currently, it's for the first Tuesday after the first Monday.
Yeah.
So like 2026, Tuesday is the day after Labor Day. With the current law, we have to be open for early voting on that day and also have to be open for regular polling place. Jamestown, it
Not a problem.
doesn't really bother us, but other towns use their early voting spot as a precinct.
Yeah.
So they have issues with people coming in, because they can come in and vote in early voting at that same location, but after 4 o'clock, they have to turn people away and send them
Yeah.
to their polling location. So
That they don't want, they don't want the confusion of that.
this bill would change it to where if the Tuesday is after Labor Day,
Mhm.
the Tuesday after Labor Day, it would move the primary day to the Wednesday.
Yeah.
We'll still have early voting on Tuesday, primary day would be on Wednesday. It wouldn't change any other days. This does have a companion bill in the House that we supported, 7049.
Yeah,
Which passed with a sub A, which was a minor floor amendment. That passed, and that's this bill that's in front of the Senate now.
okay, so this Senate bill reflects the amendment that the House made to
It
theirs.
does not affect the amendment, it's the companion bill.
I see, okay,
So in this letter of support, if it's motioned, and I can send a letter of support, I would motion it that they accept it, or they pass it, similar to the companion bill with the amendment of the language.
Yeah.
In the companion. And this is actually up to testimony on Thursday, in person or written
Thursday,
Thursday. It was for yesterday, but.
I know, but they canceled it. Okay. Does that mean they canceled everything yesterday?
Yes,
Okay. There was other things that I was gonna go testify at with the state archives, and I presume if one is canceled, everything is canceled. Up there, right? Yeah, okay. All right, I would like to entertain a motion on this one.
So moved.
I made a motion to, Keith, draft a letter, supporting this amendment.
Moving the primary election day.
Okay. Daphne,
Second?
any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. In this brisk trot through these bills, we are now at Senate Bill 2341.
That is the military oversight and disabled voter mail-in ballots where they can use the electronic mail-in vote, electronic ballots. This was the companion bill to House 7007, which we supported and
Yeah.
passed in the House.
Yeah.
Now it's in front of the Senate Judiciary.
Okay.
Again, testimony will be on, or the hearing will be tomorrow at the rise of the
The Senate,
Senate, and it would essentially allow electronic voting for overseas and disabled.
so,
I think the standard is pretty solid, referencing this framework, cybersecurity framework.
Yeah.
Sure. that the vote is secure, yeah, can be tampered or altered.
Yes.
So I support that.
okay, let me just look and see if they changed anything on this. No, okay. So these are the two issues that the disabled and the uniformed are still together.
Yes, they're all together.
Yeah,
And
okay,
it, all this changes is the framework, changes the date,
yeah,
because it was effective up until December 31st of last year. And it actually has listed the framework that the Secretary of State's office will have to follow
yeah,
for security reasons.
right. Okay,
So in effect, we've already supported the House bill
Yes,
and it extends an existing bill. Correct? The time extends something that has been in effect
yes,
up until until the end of the previous year.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
right.
So I move that we should support Senate S 2341.
Do I hear a second?
Second,
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We now look at House Bill 7303.
House Bill 7303 is the companion bill to
Senate S 2132.
S2132, which is the voter registration change in the Constitution.
Mhm. Again, this is gonna be on the ballot.
Assuming it passes.
I'm assuming it passes, yeah. Okay, so. So is everybody clear about what exactly this alters? No person shall be eligible to file a declaration of candidacy who has not been a qualified elector in Rhode Island for at least 30 days. And
Right, but the
we
way,
already,
yes,
yeah, okay,
but with respect to voting, it could be anytime up to and including registering on election day.
right,
Depends on how the final
yeah.
amendment is written. Yeah,
Well, I think that'll make things easier.
anyways, yeah. But anyway. Okay, so
Motion,
I move that we support House 7303.
we have a second? Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous. Okay, House Bill 7451. This has to do with the validity. This recommendation to the validity of mail ballot applications. Section in blue. The application shall include the voter's Rhode Island driver's license or state identification if unexpired or expired no more than 6 months prior to the election, last 4 digits voter's social security number. But reason obviously for the last 4 digits is an aspect of privacy.
I guess, how do they validate that it's a development? If they only have the last 4 digits.
That's how we list it in the
That's how,
CVS.
yeah, that's how they list it, it's not,
So on road registration forms, we require either a state ID number, driver's license, or last 4 of social.
Yeah.
And through the CDRS program, I can verify it, that it's correct.
so it's to verify from CDRS to, but not to reveal the entire, to the public, and reveal the entirety of the social security.
This one, how
Yeah,
they only have the last 4 digits, you can't
right,
validate them.
wow, this is long,
Right now, we currently, when we get a mail ballot, we process them by name, address, and then confirm the signatures. This would add that second step where they would have to put in their driver's license.
yeah,
Which would make validating easier in case they had really bad handwriting or something, you're not looking through, you can kind of validate it that way as well. Right now, for any online mail ballot applications, you do have to
yeah.
put in your driver's license or your last 4 digits.
Mhm. So on this one, on page 3 of the 5 pages, again, the blue part, the application shall include the voter's Rhode Island driver's license or state identification number if unexpired or expired number. No more than 6 months prior to the election or the last 4 digits of the social security number, so that's mirroring the other one.
Yes.
Okay. And that's the only changed item, so I'll entertain a motion on this bill.
I. In a motion to, endorse this, little 3450.
Second,
7451.
Yep.
Okay, second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Well, I think we already discussed.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a companion bill.
Yep, the 7358 is the companion bill,
Okay.
2130.
Yeah.
okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we support House Companion Bill 7358, about the publication of write-ins on the BOE website.
So,
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Do we have any communications?
No, we do not at this time.
Okay, we will move to open forum. Does anybody have anything from the board to add in open forum? Hearing none, I am going to call for an adjournment.
when's our next meeting?
What is our next meeting?
Our next meeting is March 18th,
And is it gonna be at 2:30?
2:30.
Okay. Jennifer, is 2:30 still working for you?
Yes.
Okay, that's right. Okay. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second,
Any further discussion? Hearing none. We will adjourn at. Let's take a vote. All in favor say aye.
aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Meeting is adjourned at 3:37. It's that clock, it's
Precision.
wrong,
That clock is definitely.
it's still wrong.
What's
It's
going on,
right-
what's going
it's
on
right
with the,
twice a day. Like the one out there.
Keith, what's going on with
no,
the
it's
clock?
actually,
Is it moving? Oh, wait,
We tried to
it is
replace
moving.
the the batteries in it, and I think we just